Just wanted to comment really quickly. You had some amazing comments here about these four bar charts and how they lined up. You could see the same large bars here and here, probably Philadelphia and Allegheny counties. And you can see those everywhere. But as you noted, the population really played an important role in that. And so what I want to take a look at real quick is how you get the rates. So yeah, Philadelphia has the most depression, but it's also got the most people. What we really want to know is, does it have the highest rate of depression? Let's just take a look at major depression and maybe recent drug use. So here in this column, I'm going to slide this over here. And I'm going to put major depression divided by population. Now, there's some issues here. As you said, the data, some of it's not the same time span. These are probably all people. These are probably adults. But I think this still does give us a sense of the size of the county relative to how many cases of depression we're seeing, a rough estimate. And if I just double click here, I get the rates for every county. So this is major depression rate. And maybe we can do that for recent drug use too. So we're going to take an equal sign, take number in Adams County of the drug use, and then divide it by the total in Adams County to get a portion. So this is going to give us the and again, I just double clicked there on the bottom right. You could also drag that down. This is the drug use rate. And these rates tell us so much more than the absolute numbers do. I'm going to select them, change them to a percent. It looks like I need to be a little more precise. Let me do it to a percent that has a couple decimals there. Okay. And then what we can do, I'm going to delete this second row. And then maybe let me put a filter on. What this filter will let me do is sort by any column without getting the rows disconnected. So for example, if I want to see the major depression rate, A to Z, this would be the lowest. Tells me that Forest County has the lowest percent. And then this is pretty crazy, right? Look at Philadelphia. Despite how many cases of major depression, 79,000 cases, and it's this huge bar right here, one of these two, it's probably actually this bar right here, it has the second lowest depression rate in Pennsylvania. Now again, we'd want to check, there's ways we can get a more accurate reading of the county estimates of population here. But my bigger point is that just because they have so many cases of major depression doesn't mean that the percent of people with depression is high. Now, if we scroll down, here's what we might also want to take it. And by the way, notice I lost the headers there when I scrolled down. I'm just going to go to View Freeze Top Row. That way, when I scroll down, I'll still be able to see the headers. And so the highest rate of depression, and not sure that you can see that there, Sullivan County, Sullivan, Cameron, Armstrong, which really, I mean, Sullivan and Cameron have such small, small numbers of depression, and yet they have also such small numbers of people. So we see them floating to the top there. Now, in drug use, do the two really match up? In other words, the higher the percent of depression, do we also see a higher percent of drug use? And I think this was what your comment was getting at. Well, we can, first of all, clearly see that the lowest drug rates aren't necessarily the ones with the lowest depression rates, right? We see this 4.85% drug use, This one has a much higher, these three have much higher drug use rates. If we wanted to look at that all together, we could select them and do what's called a scatter plot. And the more that we see these two variables going together, the more we're going to see a straight line pattern here in our dots. And the more they're not really related to each other in any way, the more they'll just kind of look random. These are pretty connected, which actually does confirm your theory. I'm going to put what's called a trend line on there. See that prediction line, and I'm also going to put what's called an R-squared value. This is an effect size, and it tells us 0.107, 10.7% of the variance in drug use rate can be connected to major depression. It's not a lot. It is a noticeable effect, and there is a trend there. The two are certainly connected in some way, but there's also a lot of disconnect there. And this will make a lot more sense when we talk about correlation, regression. I did just want to comment, since you made such insightful comments, I wanted to go in a little deeper on how we can see patterns across the different variables. So nice job on picking that out.